good evening to all of you and welcome you all to the first session of Info Studio 2021 organized by the Industrial Management Science Students Association, which is the student body of the Department of Industrial Management, with the primary intention of enhancing the knowledge and the skills of undergraduates of our department. So without further ado, let's start today's session on how to achieve success in your career by starting academic life with an entrepreneurial mindset. The topic will be covered by Professor 𝒁𝒑𝒂, who is currently serving as a professor in civil engineering at the University of Morato, and who is also a chartered engineer by profession. Also, he is the ex-commissioner of Sri Lanka Inventors Commission. He has been honored with many prestigious awards for his research and contributions, including the Award for Outstanding Research Award, the Most Outstanding Sri Lankan Award for Inventions, and the Young Scientist Award from the World Academy of Science. He is a multiple patent holder for sustainable design and materials, and he has won the Presidential Award for Academic Publications in the year 2018. Not only that, he has done a number of researches, he has helped a number of young inventors to come up, and he has been a great leader for a number of organizations. So that's why we thought the most ideal person to talk about this topic is Professor 𝒁𝒑𝒂. So I hope that you will get the maximum benefit out of today's session. So, sir, it's over to you to continue.
Yeah, right. Thank you very much, Dilshan, and I'm so happy to join event from Kelaniya University, especially the science faculty. The Kelaniya University and the science faculty has a lot of good memories in my life, both professional and personal. Don't take it bad, but I'm very much attached to Kelaniya University for many reasons in my life. So we have very good friends there. I still can remember I started visiting Kelaniya University in 2015, and from 2015 to many years I was very much linked with Kelaniya University, and not only the science faculty, especially the sociology, the art faculty, and even the medical faculty. We were even used to play with your medical faculty colleagues, playing badminton at national level competition. So as again, to tell you, the Kelaniya is not a new place for me. So there were a little bit of distancing in very recent past, but I think I really love Kelaniya University, and that premises, especially that big tree near your staff canteen. So that's a wonderful place. I really enjoyed my life, and your staff common room was a fantastic place. Day and night I was just passing Kelaniya University and your faculty. I didn't want to mention some key figures from your faculty who was closely working with me just to uplift the education system, and especially to change the current situation which was there in that time. I'm not going to say that was not there now, but still I'm sure, even though I'm not there, your people are still fighting and still continuing a good battle. Not the staff, even the student. I have very good student contacts with your university. So once again, I'm really glad to see linking with the Kelaniya University. I've seen some people joining and changing their names. So anyway, this is a different story, but once again, thank you very much for inviting me for your faculty. Even though I'm not physically present there, I can feel it, I can sense it, the smell of your faculty and the smell of your university. So thank you very much for all who have organized this particular event and who decided to invite me. Thank you very much for me to get that particular feeling in my life. So the given topic is really a vast topic, but I thought I will keep the whole topic for the final discussion. But before that, I thought I will do a small presentation on one single word which you have spelled out in that particular topic. That is the term success. So I will talk about success, linking that with my life. And then we will see how we can couple that with the entrepreneurship, or rather thinking that in an entrepreneurial way and linking with the academic life. So You can feel me as a old Chuck now, but I still feel young, and I still want to feel young. So with that small note, let me share my screen. I don't have much slides. Actually, I have only 4 slides to talk to you. I prepared only 4 slides. Let me share the screen. Give me a minute. Right. So you can see I have only 4 slides. Dilshan, I hope I'm audible and visible as well.
Yes, loud and clear.
Right. Thank you very much. So the success. So that is what I'm going to talk to you in my presentation. Then we will see how we can couple this with the entrepreneurial mind and how to couple that with your academic life or even your personal life or whatever. That's at the next stage. But I really want to talk about the success. If someone asks, are you a real successful person? I could say yes, I'm a so successful person. If they ask me to show my success, I have one image to show. I have one image to prove my success. That is this. That is why I have put this image as my first slide. Normally, I put this slide as my last slide to show that I'm a very happy, successful person. I mean, I said this is the benchmark I have in my life to show that I'm a successful person. So I will tell the success story later. But just to start my topic, I put this particular image. These two are non-related in my life. They are not relations to my life, but they are very much close to my heart. So I have a big story with them. And the house behind me is a house designed and built with my own inventions, and that was built and given to this poor family who are there in Kirinochi. So they got a family. They have no one in the world actually, because all their relatives kids were basically killed at the 30 years of war, which was happened, which many of you can't remember even in this country, and they were all alone and they haven't had a house to stay. And finally, I managed to build them a house with my own creations. I mean, this mud concrete block MCB was a creation of myself. A patent belongs to me. So I managed to pay back the people who spent on my education, who spent on my success. So that is the biggest success I have achieved in my life. So that is my success. But when I was asked to talk about the success, so I thought like I should really go and find the real meaning or the definition of the success. So I went to the dictionary and I was looking for the definition. And when I was looking for the definition, I found many definitions, but it clearly says it's a noun. So it's very obvious. I mean, it's a noun. So it's not a verb, it's a noun. And if you go through the 4 points I have stated there, I mean, it's talk about achieving your goals, achieving your wealth. So these are all physical and tangible stuff which you can feel, which you can touch actually. So you plan something, you set a goal, and achieving the goal. It can be many things. It can be money. It can be, I mean, it can be a land. It can be a relationship, whatever. If once you achieve that, a person can say that is the success of that man. So the success, the word is a noun, and the noun has a lot of definitions. So I have said few, but in my life, the success, the way I define is this. It's a feeling and highly subjective. So if someone asks how you are going to define the term or the word success, I will say it's a feeling and it's highly subjective. So that is how I'm going to define, even though the books and all these dictionaries have defined it in many ways. So keeping that in my mind, keeping that in your minds, I'm going to talk about the success and how I think about the success, and how I achieve my success in my life. Let me take to my next slide, the success. As I said, it's a feeling and it's highly subjective. It's a feeling. I mean, well, when I say highly subjective, because the reason is the way I think about the success is completely different to the way you think about the success. Because I'm planning, or I'm setting my goals in a different line than the way you set the goals. Someone will go and try to earn billions and billions of money. Someone wants to get each and every perch in the country. Someone wants to go and travel all the countries in the world, right? So like that, there are a lot of ways of setting goals. Based on that, the success can be varied, and the level of the achievement is, I mean, highly dependable and highly subjective. So just by you will not be able to compare the success you achieved with your wealth and the success of a person who just travel 20 countries across the world. And if you try to compare these two, you'll not be able to do that. It is highly subjective. You can't really compare a success of one person with another. So in simple means, I can say I'm a very successful person in my life in a different way than the way you have achieved your life. So so it's a feeling. I mean, the feelings, you can't have measurements in your feelings. So feeling is a feeling, and it is highly subjective. So keeping that particular note, I'm going to my second point. If you really want to be a successful person, you have to have a balance always. It's not like balancing as shown in the image. You need to have a real balance in your life. When I say a balance, you need to balance many stuff. Sometimes you may have to balance your friends. Sometimes you may have to balance your personal life with your professional life. Even with in your personal life, you may have to balance many things. And even the professional life, you may be handling and you may be doing many stuff. But if you really want to be a successful person, you need to have a balance. So let's say a person is really successful with his professional life, sacrificing the personal life. I'm not going to say he is a successful person. Sometimes some people, they achieve everything in their personal life, but they don't have a professional life and they are not successful in their life. You take the politicians, they are really poor because they go behind the money and the power, but at the end of the day, they are not really successful because they can't really go back to their waters. They can't go. So while they are achieving one, they are going to sacrifice the other. So unless you have a balance, you can't say you are a successful person. So if you are to be a successful character or successful person, the number one lesson is you have to have a balance. Let's say you want to go to the university. If you just do only the studies and you forget all your extracurricular activities, let's say the sports, let's say club and societies, let's say art and tradition. So you forget everything and you study, only focus on the A-level subjects, 3 subjects, and you get into the university. And if you think, okay, being as the island first, you are a successful person, to me, I'm going to say, no, you are not a successful person. Let's say you spent 3 years or 4 years at the university and you became the best of with the first class. If you have not done, or if you have not really feel the entire university life, I'm not going to say you are a successful graduate. There can be a lot of degree holders. I mean, you have seen, right? All the universities everywhere, you have these degree holders who are fighting for a job because they know they have only this particular degree certificate on their hand. But if you are a real graduate who have went through the entire cross section of the university life, if you have enjoyed each and every bit of the university life, then even though you miss your first class, still you are a balanced, successful person according to my definition. That's about the balancing your life. The other one, think simple. I mean, always the life is very complicated, complex, right? You will get every day, even today. I mean, that was a very complex issue in my life, but still, you try to make it very simple. I mean, it's really impossible to think simple in this particular complex world. The easiest way is, let's say you have a big complex problem. That this is possible with your personal life. This is part, if you want to be an entrepreneur, this will be there in your business life as well, the personal life, the professional life, the business life. Wherever you go, you will encounter a lot of complex problems. But I say, You have to think simple. How am I going to do it? So the easiest way is you get the complex problem, you try to divide it into small pieces until you find the level where you can manage yourself without depending on a third party. Without depending on the third party, there you will have to go to the very bottom level where you can achieve that without the help of another party. Now, if you try to depend on thousands of people and try to solve the complex problem at once, if you miss one partner, you will definitely fail. So the success is think simple, make it simple. So whatever the complexity, whatever the irrespective of the size and the complexity of the problem, try to break that into small pieces where you can manage yourself. Let's say you are sitting for your final year exam. So it's a big junk at the end of the day. But if you try to divide that into subsections which you can manage yourself within your capacity, within your talents, within your thinking, within your carrying capacity, you will be able to do it. That, I mean, I may solve the problem in few seconds, but you will take hours. But still, it's you who have solved the problem on your own. So if you get another support from another person, that's a bonus, because I mean, with the help of the other party, you will be able to do it at a lesser time, with lesser resources. But you know that you have the confidence that you can solve the entire problem on your own without depending on a third party, because you have broken that into small pieces, which is manageable to yourself. So that is the number 2 success story or the success lesson from my life. So that is how I always behave or rather achieve my success in my life. The third point, have a strong foundation. This is very much important. If I take my own discipline, I'm a civil engineer, so I always say, I mean, not say, I always, whenever I go to do a design, a building design or whatever, I always ensure the foundation is 2 times stronger than the other section. The reason is, if you fail your foundation, which you can't see, which you and I can't see because it is underground, and if you fail it, that's it. I mean, you will not be able to do it again, because you have you can't rectify that unless you take the foundation out and lay another strong foundation. So if your foundation is strong, whatever it comes, let's say your superstructure is going to fail. Let's say you are going to build your house, your foundation is very strong. The superstructure, unfortunately, there was a tree collapsing over to your house, or let's say there was a wind blowing your roof, but still, within a short period of time, within a short effort, you will be able to rectify it to where it was much better than it was, provided that you have a strong foundation. So make sure whatever you do, you should have to have a strong foundation. That is there your first for the personal life. Whatever you do, make sure you have a strong family who can back you, who can hold you whenever, whether you do a mistake, whether you are really successful, still they are hold to you. They are going to hold with you until you die. That foundation remain as it is. So make sure whatever you do, you should have to have a strong foundation. Don't lose it. So based on the wrong foundation, whatever you build, that can collapse, but still there is a chance for you to rebuild it to the same level or to a much brutal level, much strong level than where it was. That is my third point. The fourth point, believe in you. This is very much important. Sometimes there will be problems in your life. Again, I'm telling, can be personal, it can be your business, it can be your education, it can be your professional life, irrespective of what. If you don't have belief in yourself, you are a real failure. You can't be a successful person if you can't believe yourself. So number 1, the most important point is make sure you believe yourself. Whoever, I mean, you can cheat the entire world, but don't ever cheat yourself. Be solid. Don't ever cheat yourself, right? It's a very challenging task. You can cheat the entire world, doesn't matter, but still make sure you don't cheat yourself. that one day if the entire world get together and try to attack you, still you know that inside you, you are not cheated yourself. So believing in you and knowing your the qualities, you can't just believe you without knowing who you are. So you have to study yourself before you studying for your advanced level, before you studying your bachelor's, before you studying to become an entrepreneur and a real academia. You have to study yourself. You have to understand your weaknesses. You have to understand your strengths, right? You have to do a SWOT analysis and say whether you are or whether you have understood you properly. There can be billions of mistakes in your life. There can be billions of bad qualities in your life, but still make sure you identify the best good factor about you and believe on it. And no, you have to understand, you have to believe, and you have to trust yourself on that particular fact against the billions of the mistakes or billions of issues in you. So believing in you is again very important. Next point, ready to fail. Ready to fail. This life is, if you come here without failing in your life, I could say you are a real unsuccessful person. So you need to fail. You need to fail, and at the same time you have to be ready to fail. That doesn't mean that you always should fail. No, you have to be ready to fail. You should know that, okay, when you are doing this, there can be a possibility where things can go wrong, but still you know that you knew that you foresee the problem. You knew, okay, you do all 100%, still you always find where this can go wrong. You know that, okay, you have done all the calculation, all the mathematics 100% correct, but still there is a possibility. Even though the maths, the question paper you will get 100%, but still in the real life there can be a slight chance of a failure. So you have to be ready to fail in your life. More you fail, the next day you are much more stronger to achieve your success. The other one, plan your life. That's again very important. Plan your life. When I said plan your life, that is in terms of time, money, resources, other external relations, communication, most importantly, risk. So you have to do anything and everything with a calculated risk. When you do that, now let's say if I compare my age and my teenage age, sometimes I was just climbing, going, running, jumping, and doing all this stuff without knowing the risk behind. But today I know it is very, very secure path, but still I think 3-4 times before I step forward, because I do myself inside me, with my experience, with my age, with my lifespan, I learn how to rather calculate the risk. So you need to plan your risk factors as well. You need to plan your time. If you are not good at planning time, you are a failure in your life. If you can't plan your money expenditures, right, that means what you earn and how much you spend and what you are going to save. That is exactly what has happened to Sri Lanka, because we have spent without knowing our earnings. But even now, if you can match our earnings with the expenditures, still we can survive. But still these fools, they can't understand that we are going for a real deadlock, right? That is not you and I, but these big people who doesn't know, who can't understand the planning, or who can't understand the success, who have just kept the success just on the power and the wealth. They are missing the entire country just because of this. They don't know how to plan their money, the expenditures, and the earnings and the resources. First, you need to find what are the resources you have. Number 2, you have to find what are the resources which you can lend. Number 3, what are the resources you can buy, right? Based on that, you have to plan your activities. Let me take a small example. Let's say you have to make a big trench, right? If you don't have a backhoe, don't plan for that particular excavation with a backhoe. If you have a small trowel, right? So you know that it will take time, but you know the real exact time based on your resources. If you get a backhoe, it will be a bonus. So you have to plan your stuff based on the resources you have. At the same time, you think, what are the other external relations which can affiliated with your activities. So sometimes, I mean, there will be a lot of people who are willing to support you, but when that really happens, you will realize no one will be behind you, only few, only handpicked numbers. The other have, just left you. So you had to find what are the exact resources which you can use at a failure, and what are the resources which you can use at a success. So they are not the same basket. I mean, you have two different I mean, it's two different sets which are not really matching each other. So you have to understand your type of connection and the strength of the connection you have. The other one is communication. You have to plan your communication as well. Don't just go and talk all the rubbish everywhere, right? So you need to plan yourself. You need to, I mean, the communication is not all about the language. I mean, whether you speak in English or Sinhala or Tamil, that doesn't mean communication. You have to communicate to the other party, and they should be able to understand what you say, right? The communication is not to show that you know English. That is wrong. So being as a civil engineer, if I can't communicate my feeling, my design to the person, the mason, I'm a real failure. I will be a big professor, but still, if I can't communicate, if I can't transfer the design in my mind to my the mason, I'm a real failure. I should be able to get a piece of brick, get the bare wall, and should be able to draw that and explain him. That is the effective communication. So for that, you need to understand to whom you're going to talk, what you're going to talk, and the level of understanding of that particular person. So those three are very important for an effective communication. So you need to plan the communication, and I told you about the risk. So you need to plan time, money, resources, other external relations, communication, and risk. So that is how I have come to this particular level in terms of academic can say entrepreneur. But let me before I forget the fact, I mean, you have to understand where you are now. That is very important for you to become a successful person. I'm now into 43. So if I just think and do stuff just keeping my school age in my life, I'll be a real failure. So you have to understand where you are. You have to understand we are in the industry 5.0 era. It's not the digital era. The digital era is all gone. We started with the steam and water. Now we just passing the digital era, and we are into the industry 5.0. In 5.0, the entrepreneurship has a different meaning. In the digital era, we were trying to replace all the human with machines and robots. But in the industry 5.0, we are again thinking about the community. The people felt that without winning the hearts of the people, without having the interaction, you can't become a successful person. You can't become a successful entrepreneur or producer or a businessman without knowing the communication and planning stuff. So you have to understand you are in the industry 5.0. It's a different era than industry the 4 and 3.5, which is the digital era. And believe me, I mean, this is the best time for us to activate ourselves, because I mean, we missed the steam, we missed all the other industry revolutions from 1 to 4. Even the digital era we missed. I mean, India and Singapore and all these, China especially, they batted well and they scored well, but we missed it. But this industry 5.0, if you do it properly, and if you want to become a successful entrepreneur in this industry 5.0, we have a lot of options, because we have not missed the human factor in this country. How much these foolish politicians try to destroy that human factor in the country, we still that particular factor is still there. So industry 5.0 is the best place for you people, the young generation, for you to try and be successful with this human factor. If you have that particular human factor and the wetness in your heart, you can easily win this struggle at industry 5.0. That is all about the planning. The other one, accept the failures and changes. That is very important. I said before, I said ready to fail. Yes, you need to ready to fail. At the same time, if something happens, you have to accept the failure. You may do thousands, millions of mistakes in your life. Accept them. right? You need to accept. Don't try to justify. Don't try to defend a mistake you did. You need to accept it. And if you accept it, don't ever let the same mistake to happen again in your life unless there is a high reason behind the issue. You may have to do the same mistake over and over, but don't do that. Don't repeat it until there is a highly justifiable reason in your life. So ready to fail, at the same time accept the failures and the challenges. There will be billions. I mean, if you want to become an entrepreneur, especially an academic entrepreneur, there will be billions of challenges. If someone comes and challenge you, make sure you give the biggest challenge over and above his challenge. Then only you can become a success entrepreneur in your life, especially the academic communities. I mean, it is not all white people in these sectors. If any lecturer joining, I know I have seen one or two lecturers in different names. If they really touch their heart and say what sort of support they got in their life, academic life, they will tell you. I mean, I'm not going to. I'm very sure they will not come forward and tell that what sort of a struggle they had in their life. But this academic field is not at all with all paved paths. It's a real muddy job, because the reason is I always respect our teachers because they had a goal. Their success was very simple because they wanted to achieve their success by seeing the success of their students. But unfortunately, today the world always try to keep their followers always below them, always at a below step than them. So they never want to see the juniors go and exceed the seniors. So because of that, the country is always going down and down. The reason is our juniors are always below us. They don't want, or rather we don't want to see our juniors overtake us. So that is another big reason, because I always say the academic community in the country should be responsible for the failures in the country. So this is one another place where we can't become real success people in the country. So accept the failures and accept the challenges, very much important. So whoever challenge, try to give him a better challenge or a bigger challenge than what he is going to do, and always try to bulldoze him at the down the line. So that is the other point. The other one is ready to replan. So the life is always not straightforward. There can be a lot of changes, changes and a lot of failures in your life. So don't stop at that particular point. Let me take a small example. Let's say I'm from Kelaniya to Colombo. Is there a bridge? Yes, we have 𝒃𝓃 Bridge. So we are about to get another new 𝒃𝓃 Bridge. But let's say we have only one 𝒃𝓃 Bridge, and you want to come to food from Kelaniya University, and you found the 𝒃𝓃 Bridge is failed due to earthquake or some boom blast. The 𝒃𝓃 Bridge is failed. You have, I mean, what are the options for you to go to ford? I mean, one option is you can just stand the other side of the river and you can cry until someone comes and build the bridge. Or one can say, okay, a real leader, they will say, okay, we will make a bridge. We will get together and we will make a bridge. Another can, let's say a swimmer who's well built with, he will decide, okay, I'm going to swim the 𝒃𝓃 River and go to the other edge. Another person, a brilliant mind person with an entrepreneurial mind, if you are to be a successful person and if you are heading for food, don't ever look at the Kandy road only. Whenever you are passing, you see what are the other alternative roads, right? When you are going on one direction, make sure you always check and see how these other roads are going to connect the food, going and passing the 𝒃𝓃 Bridge. So you don't have to cry being here. You don't have to, take an extra risk by collecting people and making the bridge, or you don't have to get another extra risk by swimming the 𝒃𝓃 River. You can easily bypass it if you know the other route. So if you want to replan your life, make sure you have enough options for the same problem. Then you can easily replan. So you're ready for the changes and the failures, but don't stay there and don't take unnecessary risk in your life. But for that, you need to have other options. If you are with only one option, if that is the option, you can fail at any time. You are in a real big risk. So whenever, whatever you the business you are going to start, make sure that you have a lot of options. More the options, you are a successful person, because one fail, you know, there will be another option for you to get the same destination. So it's not a straight line always, but always make sure you are, when you are going in the main road, you have to think and say how these by roads are connected. So you always, when you are going in your personal life, the professional life, or the business life, or whatever, make sure you drive forward one direction, no more change, but make sure you look at the both sides and see what are the options in your life. The other one, put the maximum possible, right? Don't ever make 1% lesser than the maximum. If there is a challenge, if there is a goal, make sure you put the maximum effort. By putting the maximum effort, even still you fail, you can be happy and proud knowing you have put the maximum possible, but you still fail, fine. But if you put 1% less, and if you later find, okay, if I put that extra 1%, you will be a successful person, you fail and you suffer. So make sure always you put the maximum possible effort to win your target. The other one, work towards success. Whatever happens in your life, because our life is very short. I mean, it's a very short period. I mean, we are not going to, we haven't come to this world to stay forever. So make sure whatever happens in your life, work towards success. Suiciding is utter bullshit, right? But you know, dropouts are utter bullshit. So if you have a target, make sure you achieve it. But you have to set an achievable target. If you have set something which is there in the heaven, and if you go for it, you are another big failure. You have to plan yourself. You should understand your capacities and the capabilities. Then you need to set the goals and the milestones which you can achieve with your talents and the capabilities. So you set the goals and the targets based on your capabilities and the talents. Then work toward the success, irrespective of whatever happens in your life. Make sure you go and achieve what you want to have. The other one, the last one, keep backups. There can be a lot of success stories in your life. There can be a lot of failures in your life, but don't ever forget these good memories. These memories are very good lessons one day down the line, because these things can happen again. If you forget it, you will do the same mistake over and over. If you have a success story, if that comes again, you do a better job by taking that as an example, because copying is very much important in your life, right? Copying is not just, you know, copying and pasting. You can copy and paste. That is what the computer does. Sometimes, I mean, you just cut and paste only. You just don't even copy. But really, copying is much more interesting, very much interesting and important in an entrepreneurial person. Because copying is, you copy it, you put it here, make it yourself, then you paste it, then it is yours, not belongs to the person who you have copied. So always keeping your own backups, and it can be, you know, you may be experiencing that with your own hands, but sometimes that experience may be based on someone else's. So that has never, that particular incident or that particular issue was never happened in your life, but still you have seen how another person reacted the issue. So you keep it and store it on you. Then one day you will be able to use this for your own problem, and maybe sometimes you can advise another person based on the experience you have. So always make sure you keep backups. Let me show you another interesting example. This was Okinawa Beach in Japan. So in 2014, they lost their coral reef. So what they did was they started planting these tiny coral branches in the sea, and today in 2020, last year, you can see it has become a thick coral jungle. So if you do the right thing at the right place, with the right team, with the right goal, with the right attitude, you can become a successful person. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. It
Yeah,
was
Dirshan.
very, yes, it was very informative and inspirational that the stories that you shared with us. So now let's move on to the Q&A session. And guys, while the session is going on, you can send in your questions to the chat box, which are related to the today's topic. So Professor Rangi will be helping you out. So I'll be asking questions, sir. So during your school time, you have worked as the head prefect of your school, and also you have taken part in several leadership roles. So how does that help? Like, how does that affect, and how does it add value to your life after your schooling period, or even after like university period?
Well, even at the university or even at my professional life, I always wanted to be a leader than a ruler. So there's a big difference between leader and a ruler. So that's another one big success story in my life. Even in my research lab, my student knows that I always want to be a part of the research team. Even though I'm the supervisor, I want to work with them and lead them. So that particular leading character finally make the entire team, to a success. I was heading Inventors Commission. If anyone from the Inventors Commission, they know that I was part of the team. I was never a ruler there. I was never advised them to how to do. I went and showed how to do that. So that particular leadership quality basically came from my school, being as a monitor from grade 1 to grade 10, and from grade 10 I became a prefect, and then grade 12 and 13 I was a deputy head prefect, and finally the head prefect. That's how I went out from the school. And I never stopped at that particular thing. I went to the university. I was doing a lot of student relation activities. I was doing union activities as a student leader. Then I joined the university system, and there in top my leadership, I was leading my University of Moratuwa teachers for 7 years, and I was unluckily I was appointed as the leader of the Federation of University Teachers Association. I started believing myself I was doing, and I found it is not my place, and I that is going with the majority. Okay, fine, you go ahead and do it. That's the leadership I had.
Yes, interesting. So since you mentioned like you have balanced both academics and extracurricular activities in your both in school time and in your university life. So how did you manage both academics and extracurricular sports and all that like parallelly?
Well, that is what I was explaining with those 9 10s, the headings, because I always believed in myself, and I knew what are the talents and the qualities I have. So I tried to optimize my talent. So let's say the sports, yeah, I still a badminton player at national. I mean, I still do. Engage with my sport activities irrespective of the age and all. And I had a passion of being with the nature, and inventing stuff based on the knowledge from the nature. I have a passion of being with nature. I have a passion of leading the stuff. I haven't had a passion of studying and memorizing stuff, so I left that apart, and I want to do engineering because it's more critical thinking. So I optimized. I understood my talent, and I managed. I planned stuff based on. I haven't had money, but I had time. I had resources, so I planned them properly, and I was ready to fail at any time. But people, if you come to Moratuwa University and talk with my people, they will say that they are really reluctant to challenge, because they know that challenges are the real success in my life. Because there were many people who have challenged me, because that was the success in my life. More the challenge I got, more the return I gave back. So that's how I came here.
Yes, interesting. Yeah, so yeah, I've also seen that you are into photography, wildlife photography, and I have heard that you are going like if you are free, then you are going like 4 or 5 days trip to wildlife, and like switching off your mobile and like spending time with your family. So like how do you think how important is to have a leisure time activity or to have a hobby for an undergraduate, for a student, like or even for a corporate? How important is that?
Well, I will talk about my hobbies. Actually, I was doing bodybuilding, so that was a hobby, but unfortunately, I had to give up due to personal illness. Then I was playing badminton. So that's one set of hobby which can couple that to my personal and professional life. Because with playing, I can have my I'm still struggling to keep my body shape, and then and the same strength. So that helps me to be strong. Not the physical strength, but the mental strength. So the sport is one good thing I always encourage my students to, at least, not to play at the national level. That's the national level players are, their life is the sport. But I don't want anybody, majority to keep the sport as the life. But the life should be part of the sport should be life, the part of the life. Then you can have a mental balance in your life. That is number one. I'll talk about the other hobby I have. That is my photography. It is basically meditation. Unless you get that particular experience, you will not be able to understand my feeling with photography. Because let's say I always love to go and spend, as you said, 3-4 days in the jungle looking for leopards. Looking for leopards is, that is the most rarest animal in the jungle. So when, let's say, you want to, let's say, or you decide to go and find a leopard for a day, sometimes some days we stop at one single location for 6-7 hours without a single move, just keeping an eye on the camera until the guy crossed the camera screen. So nothing. I'm with hell of problems in my mind, but once I go inside, all these things will be disappear, and that will bring to a real mental stop, fixing, right? So that again very much important, because always if you are always with problems, you will stuck sometimes. I'll tell you another advice I always give to my students, especially the research students. When they, let's say, a PhD student, let's say they have a very focused topic for them to research, but always I give them a lateral topic which doesn't have any relation between their main hardcore research. So always they feel tired on their main topic, they can shift back to the side research, and they can balance the life. So the balancing is very much important. Always, if you go and stress on one factor, there will be fatigue failures in your life. Don't get fatigue in your life.
All right, interesting. Yeah. So I've also seen that the photograph, like, since I know it is really hard to catch a leopard and all that, but you have been successful in that area as well, because I have seen some masterpiece of yours, like the photographs of leopards and the birds and all that. So yeah, interesting. So since you mentioned, like, it is really important to have balance our life with sports and extracurricular activities. But the problem that today we have is it's been almost 2 years into the pandemic, and there seems to be no end in sight. So like, as university students, we don't have that opportunity to engage in sports or aesthetic activities in university. We don't have that like to blend with sports and stuff. So in that kind of situation, how should we address that, and like how can we set a clear destination in that case?
That's why I said in my in that big few points slide, you should have to have a lot of options. More the options, you are a successful person. So if you come and say the only option to have sports and the extracurricular activities is to go to the university, or rather leave out from your the boundary, and that is the only option, you are a real failure. I'm not really pointing Dilshan, but I'm basically talking to the audience. You have about 165 people watching the thing. So you need to find what are the options available. Let's say let's say you can't play badminton without another partner. At least you have to have another partner, but you can find some other sport where you can get the same feeling, same exercise to your body. So always think about the other options. Don't ever think that you are lost out of options. You are out of options mean you are about to suicide now. right? Don't panic at that particular point. Don't ever think that you don't have options until you die. That's why I said, I mean, the suicides are real failures in their life. So that means they don't have options, right? So don't let you to go to that particular point. There are a lot of options. You can't say you don't have options. There are options. You think you will find, you'll be able to find another option.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah, so the next question is kind of interesting. I think you might have answered this like several thousand times, I would say. So how much does the GPA affect our career path? And like I've known that you have been you have taken a first class honors degree. So like, did you use any specific strategy to build motivation and to be consistent, preparing for, like, if we say assignments, quizzes, exams and all this stuff?
Well, you want me to talk about myself, right? So I'll talk about the GPA. Well, I never I'll start my university life. I'll explain my the whole university career. I went to 𝒃𝑒𝓃𝑒𝓃 Vidyalaya. It's not a big famous school in the country, but I was there from grade 1 to grade 13. I was there, and I was selected to Moroto University. That was a very lucky hit. My island rank was 312. At that time, only 300, the first bulk of 300 students were taken to the Moroto University. That was my dream. I wanted to anyhow go to Moroto University. So luckily or unluckily, 12 left the country, and I was the last person to enter to Moroto University. And my English was, I mean, I don't have to explain here. Being in a school like that, always cutting the English class. I mean, I was always taking my class, the students, and playing in the ground. So the first lecture was terrible, right? I still can remember. It was a maths lecture. She came, and actually she was a brilliant lecturer, but unfortunately she was really old, and we couldn't hear what she says. So she was keeping her mic and she was talking in English, and I was sitting at the front seat. I was thinking whether I should stay here or quit the degree and go and find something else. That was the day I took the challenge. I said, I'm anyhow going to take a class from University of Moroto. I was studying. I never studied at the university. I never studied staying in the library, because it was really very, very scaring, because everybody is working. I mean, there's no other student who is without a book. Everybody is with a book. So all the time, lunch hour, when the lecture over, I go to the gym. I was playing there. Soon after the lectures, I ran to my home. So that's how I started my career at the university. So I came to first 50 at the first year exam, and the second year onwards I was the best top. So that's all the challenge I took. And that was the strength I got from the sports and the leadership I had in my life. So GPA is really just a number. If you want to be the best top, it is possible. If you want to get a first class, that is possible, because I know how you can do it. And even after the even after the degree, everybody, always the best top and the best second, they go to the Cambridge to get the PhD. I took a challenge. No, I'm definitely going to do my PhD in Sri Lanka. I did it. No one asked from where you get the PhD just to put me down. They asked where you get the PhD just to give the value to Moroto University. They never asked, what is your school? I mean, I never claimed a mark from my school than giving a marks to my school. So always be proud yourself. You believe on you. You can do whatever you want.
Yes, that's a great answer. And yeah, so speaking of your achievements, you are honored with CVCD Excellence Award in 2016 as the most outstanding young researcher in the field of technology and related sciences. So it's something hard that anyone can, like, for anyone to achieve. But like, if you have the courage, if you have that commitment, I think it's possible. So how was that experience to you? What are the obstacles that you had to face? Yeah.
Yeah, CVCD in academic life, actually, that is the biggest achievement or the highest achievement a person can ever think of getting in the academic field as academia. So, well, that was another challenge I took in my life. You take about the academic person, you have three areas. three big areas where you have to be master. If just by doing one, you can't get the promotion. You have to have a balance in all these three. One is the institutional contribution. The other one is your research performance. The third one is the national performance, national contribution. So you need to have a balance. If anybody wants to become a lecturer, if they want to become a professor, so they need to have the balance, and they should go through the circle and see how the values are. So that is another sad story in Sri Lankan academics now, because they always get the marking scheme, and they from the day one they are starting working for the marking scheme. But my life was not that. I had a passion of doing research. I was working for it. I'm a local graduate, right? I'm really proud to say that I did my PhD in Sri Lanka. In my research scholar, Google Scholar profile, if you go and say all the Sri Lanka, I mean, all of them are my students. And I proudly say my H index is higher than all my other contributors. So I'm proud of that. So one day I wanted to one of my good friend, they said, I mean, there's a award like CBCD, why not you go and apply? So I got the challenge. That was basically the second chapter of the promotion criteria of lecturer to a professor. That is a research area. So I should thank my students and the friends. I mean, I haven't done much. Only my students did the application. My friends. So they filled in and submitted, and finally 2016 that was submitted in early 2016, and I received the CBCD in late 2016, and then I realized, okay, why not I should go and apply, get my professorship, because that was again due to a reason, because I never wanted to be a professor before the age of 40. But one of my good teacher, he came to my room and he scolded me, saying, I mean, I should go and apply. I said, okay, give me 1 week. I'm definitely going to do the submission. I never knew about the application. So I went and I went through the application. I found it's possible and I have enough marks. I talked to my students next day and they filled the application. Not the 7th day, the 6th day, I managed to submit my professor application from the 0 to the last.
Great. Yes, sir. So when it comes to seeking jobs, how much does work experience weigh out, like compared to academic qualification? Like, what do you think? Which, I mean, both are important. So, like, according to your perspective, what is more value, work experience or having academic qualifications?
Well, I mean, that's depend, Dilshan. Actually, that's depend. I mean, that's depend on the on what you are planning to do. Let's say you want to become a government servant who just sit and do nothing. I think the qualification is well enough. You can become a development officer and you can earn about 20,000 and you can do nothing. So that's one option. The other one, if you really want to be a go-getter, I think more than the education, the experience matters a lot. So that's how I feel. But beyond that, if you want to be an entrepreneur, that's a different story. You need to have the knowledge, you need to have the experience. More than that, you need to have the courage to go and start a business, start giving jobs than seeking a job.
All right, sir. Yeah. So speaking of the entrepreneurial skills and stuff, so let's move on to that. So like fantastic ideas that can be later invested into work, into into profession or something. So it's hard to find. So what is the process of ideating and coming up with insightful ideas as an entrepreneur? Like how does it get?
Well, there is another misunderstanding about this entrepreneurship. I mean, people say, okay, you need to have an invention and you need to convert an invention to innovation and to a business. Well, that is one way, but beyond that, there are a lot of ways of being an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship is another skill, like Pandit Amiradeva being a great singer. Entrepreneurship is another big skill you should have to have. It's like being a manager. Management, I'll not be able to teach you entrepreneurship or management. It's a boon skill. So I can only give you some pin points from my experience for you to just brush up your talents. But purely entrepreneurship is a bone scale. But let me give you one or two good examples for you or to be a entrepreneur. I mean, number one is you need to believe yourself. I'm always picking the same points which I have stated. And more importantly, you should have to have a mindset of working as a team. So if you want to be an entrepreneur, I mean, sometimes there are people, entrepreneurs who become entrepreneurs on their own. So no support, but at the down the ladder only they got some support. But the initial step was put forward with their own skill. But a country like Sri Lanka, if anybody wants to become an entrepreneur, I mean, I strongly believe that they should have to have a team spirit and they should have to have the correct team, because entrepreneurship is not about starting a business. If you want to become a successful business, successful enterprise, you have to have a lot of stuff. You have to have the HR management, the financial management, marketing, advertising, even production, the knowledge areas. So like that, I mean, there can be people who are well with all these the talents, but it's very rare to find. But if you want to become an entrepreneur, always try to find build up your team based on different different knowledge areas. Then go for it. Otherwise, it will be a real failure. Because I have seen many good entrepreneurs because they are not technically competent. One good example from 𝒬𝓃 University, there was a student, I can't remember his name, 𝓈𝓃𝓃. He invented and he went with that invention called 𝒃𝓃𝓃. He's a management graduate and his team is from arts faculty. So the technology is basically he picked from different places. So he became an entrepreneur. So you need to have the boon skill, but at the same time you should pick the correct people with correct talents. Then with calculated risk, you can become a good entrepreneur. You need to become a good entrepreneur, I mean, than seeking a job.
Yes, yeah. Even like I have seen many people in my life who are like really talented. They are very smart and all that, but like when it comes to the entrepreneurship, they fail to be successful. Because maybe they lack of something, like some particular quality or something. So like actually, like I was gonna ask, like, what is the difference between innovator and entrepreneur? Is there a difference? Or
well, it's completely different. It's completely different. Innovator, inventor, and entrepreneur are three different topics. Inventor is the person who's basically finding knowledge which is not existing, right? That knowledge cannot be there anywhere in the world. So if that particular person invent a new knowledge, we say he's an inventor. So he should claim that he should register his intellectual property. Then we can say he's an inventor. Innovator is different than inventor. I was having a serious fight with my own ministry just to change the name of the ministry, because it's a real bullshit. The single word and the English word are two different meanings. So I was fighting with my former minister, but unfortunately I left. And the ministry is still there with two different names. Invention and innovation has two different meanings. 𝒪𝓉𝒽𝒾𝓃𝓊𝓃, 𝒪𝑜𝓊𝓇. In English, our ministry says Minister of Innovation, but in Sinhala we say 𝒑𝒦𝒻𝒾𝓄𝒻𝒻𝒻. So it's strong. So you have to understand the difference between these two: invention and innovation, innovator and inventor. So I was explaining the inventor. The innovator is, let's say you have invent something, you have a new knowledge. But if you can create this knowledge to a marketable product, it is not to sell, but if you can commercialize, if you can socialize the product or the process, then we can say that now the product is not an invention, it's an innovation. Let me tell you a small example. I don't know whether you can remember this example. Have you seen this Roadrunner cartoon?
yes,
Right, many of you okay, maybe through the internet, maybe through the YouTube. In the Roadrunner, you have a fox and a cock, right?
yes,
This cock is running always, he's always fast than the fox, and fox is always trying to catch the cock. So the cock, not the cock, actually, that's the Roadrunner. So this Roadrunner, to catch the Roadrunner, the fox is putting many, I mean, every week you have a new invention. So he sometimes run rockets parallel to the ground. So like that, the fox is coming with a lot of inventions. But in my life, I never saw a cartoon episode where the fox catches the the Roadrunner. So the fox couldn't, I mean, even though he is a good inventor, he can't make that invention to innovation because he couldn't achieve his final goal. I think with that you will be able to understand what I am saying. But in the real life, converting an invention to innovation is a big process, because I mean you need to find out the market sense. I mean whether they really accept it, whether this is marketable, and we need to come up with a fancy design for them to you know attract, get attractive, and you have to do the marketing, I mean lot of stuff, right? So converting an inventor to innovator, it's not it cannot be a single person. It should be a team. Many times it should be a team, but there can be one or two instances where the inventor become a innovator. Then the entrepreneur is a different story, where you go and start a business with this new idea, right? A new business. It's not a normal business. Entrepreneurship means you're going to take the challenge and start something fresh. So the best is to start with invention and converting that to innovation and go for a business. But these are three different stages, three different meanings, but can be in a one chain.
Exactly. I think anyone can understand with that example of the Roadrunner. Yeah, so great. All right, so like also like if we closely look at like every successful entrepreneur, like there are some special qualities or traits that are in common. So like those qualities, are people born with such qualities, or like is it something that we can develop over time? That we develop? I mean, obviously we can develop that, but like some specific qualities that an inventor or successful entrepreneur has, is it born like when you get the birth? Do you get that?
I personally feel you can't invent the entrepreneurship. You can't invent. Right, you can't plant like what I showed in my last slide. You can't plant the entrepreneurship skill like the Okinawa Beach planted the corals. You can't do that. I personally believe it's a born talent. It's a born skill. So if you have the skill, you can brush up that with your time, with your knowledge, with your experience, with your lifetime. You can add stuff to there, where you have the base, you have the foundation, and on top of that you will be able to build your character. But if you want to become a real entrepreneur is not, I personally believe entrepreneurship is not to earn money, but even if you can earn the hearts of the people, that's another way of a big level of entrepreneurship. So that's why I said the success is very subjective. So many people in the world, they believe they measure the entrepreneurship or the enterprises based on the ROI and IRR, or the interest and the rate of return they get. But more than that, there are a lot of other ways of measuring the success of the entrepreneur. But all these things will start with the base foundation, that is this talent. But beyond that, they can build up.
All right, great. So I'm getting questions. Yeah, I'll just read it out for you. So there's this question: a significant number of undergraduates have like having this mindset that what you elaborated a bit ago. So as undergraduates, we have big ideas in our thoughts, and those are the ideas directs to be and future entrepreneurs. So, but with the current situation in Sri Lanka, I have a doubt about the country when you think about how country going and what will happen in future. So simply there is a slogan in a lot of young generation: go out from country when get the first chance you get. Yeah, I mean that's obvious. Like, we are seeing that a lot in social media. So what is your advice to an undergraduate who have this doubtful mind?
Well, then advice. If you ask this particular question, let's say 3-4 years down the line, I will straight away say that no, don't leave the country. You should stay here. But today I'm not going to tell that. But if you are ready to leave the country, that means you are a real failure. Today, the country is the best place for you to become an entrepreneur, for you to become a successful person, because you are in a desert now. From the leadership to the very bottom line, there we have a big vacuum. We don't know who's going to be a contest for the presidency next time. If you and I want to have the same set of fools in the next election, well, you can leave the country. I really beg you to leave the country. But I don't want to. I don't want that to happen. But I don't want to go to the politics as well. So I need to have set of people who I can believe on, because these people are, I mean, lost their hopes, right? As you said, they don't have hopes. So if you can become a person who can become a hope for these people, from the politics to other things, I'm sure you will not be able to find another country like Sri Lanka where I have this much of opportunities, because we are in a real vacuum, right? Because the vacuum was created. I mean, you can blame the politicians and say that, I mean, they are destroying the country. At the same time, I'm praying for them. You stay for 1 or 2 years, please, because you are creating a real big value vacuum for the country, and you are opening the eyes of people where wrong people get the wrong opportunity. That is going to be a big mistake, and it is going to be a disaster. So that is what we are experiencing today. So if you are to become a successful person, you are in a real heaven with a lot of opportunities, because this is a big vacuum. I'm repeating or reiterating the same point. We are in a real big vacuum today. So if you want to live, and if you want to have the same today, tomorrow, please leave the country. I'm very much happy to see you are leaving, letting the people who love the country to stay here, because then you can reduce this majority, right? This foolish majority. So if one by one, if they're leaving the country, fine. I mean, you go there, but don't look at the country again. People stay in Australia and America, and being there, they are trying to make the country here in Sri Lanka. Please don't do that. If you want to leave, you just leave it, and let us to make the country, make the tomorrow, because there's another set who's waiting to change the country. That is possible. I'm always saying, I don't have another country like Sri Lanka. This is the only country. I mean, there can be hundreds of countries who they will respect me, who they want me to be there. But I don't want to go to another country, because this is the only country I have in the world which I can say this belongs to me. So if anybody wants to leave, I'm very much happy to say, please leave. Leaving the people who really love the country to stay here and get the maximum out of the vacuum created by these foolish politicians.
Exactly. Yeah, because so when we look out there are plenty of opportunities that you can grab, like to start entrepreneur, like being entrepreneur, and at least just a startup. There are plenty of opportunities in the country right now, because of the COVID pandemic, or because of the economic status of the country. Yeah, so I totally agree, sir. So yes, with that also, like when you define the entrepreneurship, like now there's a trend called, like, in the entrepreneurship, being an entrepreneur, like among the generation, everyone is like online entrepreneurship. That is a trending topic, I would say. Like having a Fiverr account and all those things, or doing freelancing stuff.
Those are not entrepreneurs. Those are not those are all online businesses. You can't call them as entrepreneurs, because I mean, the opposite, that business was created by someone else, and you are repeating the same business. So it's a business. You can't say those are entrepreneurs. They are earning some money by using a platform created by some other person. So those are businesses. I mean, I'm not blaming them, but that is not the entrepreneurship. That is a different term.
Yes, exactly. So I would ask a basic question: how would you define entrepreneurship?
Well, entrepreneurship is all about, I could say, starting from the stretch and become a successful person in whatever you believe. This is what in very simple form, that is what I believe. Because there wasn't something called social entrepreneurship. Now the world trend is that not the money, not the rupees and cents, but the society you work with. So if anybody wants to talk about the business only, that was a former definition, I could say it is wrong. So the people who wants to earn the profit and the business and the rupees and cents and the dollars, well, they have the definition, the old definition. But I personally believe, so you, from the stretch to a success, if you can achieve your beliefs and the goals, you are there and you are a successful entrepreneur.
Great, amazing. So yeah, like even everyone says, like when you climb the corporate ladder, like the only motive is not the money. So like in our generation, like everyone is thinking about the money, like earning money. That is the only motive that our generation, I mean not the generation, but I would say like most of the people are having. So when you climb up the corporate ladder, only you get to realize that there are some stuff, there are self-esteem, mostly the self-satisfaction, the happiness that you get from the jobs, that is what you need apart from the money. So yeah. So also, like there's a question in the chat box, sir. Did you had a role model when building your personality? Can you explain the value of having a role model when creating the personality?
I'm not going to say I had a role model. I had many role models. I mean, whenever I go here and there, I mean, whenever something hits me, I take that as a, take that him or her as a role model, because I'm not going to pinpoint they are the role models from my childhood to today. Every day I'm meeting role models. But the biggest advice I can give you: don't follow a role model. Right? You can copy a role model, but at the end of the day, you need to create your own brand from here. So if you try to, let's say, if I start, if I request one of you to follow me and be another 𝒁𝒑𝒃, I think that is not the way to live. You can follow me, the way I dress, way I cut my hair, everything you can follow. It's a different story, but don't try to imitate a role model. That is not that is not for a successful life. I mean, you can copy, but try to create your own brand. Right now, you go somewhere and talk about 𝒁𝒑𝒃. I mean, they know how I dress, how I talk and all. So it's really hard game, right? You create your own brand is really hard. But once you are there, you can be really proud and say about your past, because it's a long battle. It's not a single day overnight job. You have to work hard for it, but don't give up your brand. You create your own goal, own brand, own 𝒁𝒑𝒃, and work for it. You can be there one day.
Yes, uniqueness is the key, right? Yes, great. So, sir, like I have also had a question. Like when being an entrepreneur, finding your passion is the key factor. But, sir, how can we find what is our true passion? Is it? It is very hard to concentrate on and think of our passion with this academic stuff, I would say.
In a way, I could say it's very difficult, but to me, it's a very simple question. Because if you want to find your passion, I mean, you need to read yourself. Don't judge how others. Don't depend on how others judge yourself. That is wrong. Don't try to find your passion based on what others say. You need to read yourself. You have to study yourself carefully. You have to understand, as I said, you have to understand your weaknesses and your pluses. Then you can create your own passion. You can own your brand with that. But if you just follow what others say, you can become one of many, but you can't become the person.
Right, exactly. So also, like if someone is already done, like let's say if someone is done with their degree in a different path, but he wants to pursue his the business idea, or like if he's willing to take risk from a different a different path, like apart from his degree, like what are the advices or the strategies that you have to share with such kind of person? Like if he's already done something else and he is willing to go to a completely different path, for such kind of person.
What I can say is, yes, it is possible, because there are a lot of world-class examples where people do some and ended up in another field. So that's why I said you need to have different options in your life, even at your professional and the educational path. You may have seen many people, they studied science and maths, and they at the third side they will do something else, and they go to the university and become a successful person. I can bring one good example from my own research team. He does arts for A level, and he became an architect, and finally ended up doing a PhD in civil engineering. So if they want to go where they want to be, they can go. Only thing is they should believe who are they. So then they can easily go there. I mean, I'll not be able to advise them. Only thing is I could say, don't rely on the other people, because you can be misled by many. But the best person who knows about you, the mostly knows about is you, nothing other than that.
Yes, it's true, sir. I totally agree. So yeah, it's almost 8. So if you guys have any more questions, you can just drop it in the chat box so we can ask from Professor Angika. Yeah, so like it's almost 8. So what is your idea about today's session, and like what is the message that you have to give to the audience? Finally, I would say.
After 1.5 hours, you have put me into the real great trouble. Okay, final message, and what should I say to the audience? I'll put it this way: don't ever pray for the best, but try for the best. I mean, that is my last message. Don't ever pray for the best, but try for the best. You can be a successful person.
Great. That is one perfect answer. Yeah, I hope everyone got that. Yes. With that, I think. Yes, we are not getting, like, if you have any more questions, you can just drop it in the chat box. So yeah, right away we can ask from Professor Angika. Yes. So yeah, I guess that's it, sir. Yeah, from like, I think on behalf, like it was a really informative session. It was, like really inspirational, and it got covered like many aspects, like not just the entrepreneurship, like the life and everything. It's everything covered up. So on behalf of the Department of Industrial Management, I would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to you, sir, and for accepting our humble invitation and sharing the knowledge with us. And I'm pretty sure that like everyone has taken the maximum out of it. So once again, yeah, a big thank you to you, sir, and we wish you all the very best in your future endeavors. So yeah, guys, so let's meet again in another valuable session of Info Studio. Until then, stay safe and have a good night.
Okay, thank you. See you soon.